Manchester City, under the relentless guidance of Pep Guardiola, remain a dominant force in English and European football. In typical fashion, the reigning Premier League champions acted swiftly and decisively during the 2025 summer transfer window, bringing in four high-profile signings and spending a total of $111 million. On the surface, the club looks as strong as ever, refreshed, reinforced, and ready for yet another grueling campaign across multiple fronts. Yet despite the transfer activity and significant financial outlay, one glaring squad issue continues to persist, threatening to undermine their lofty ambitions. This long-standing concern isn't necessarily about goals or creativity. It's not even about tactics. Guardiola has proven to be a master at evolving his style. The problem is deeper, systemic, and perhaps the only vulnerability in a team that looks close to flawless: Manchester City's thin and uncertain options at left back. Summer signings: 111 million spent for strategic reinforcement. Manchester City's transfer window started proactively, even aggressively by their standards, with key departures and tactical reshuffles anticipated after their treble-winning 2022-23 campaign and the subsequent title defense in 2023-24. The club knew fresh legs were needed to maintain dominance. Here's a breakdown of their four major signings in the current window. 1. Youssouf Fofana, 38 million from AS Monaco. The dynamic French midfielder was brought in to add steel and athleticism to the midfield. With Ilkay Gundogan now firmly settled at Barcelona and Calvin Phillips failing to impress, Fofana represents a younger, more robust alternative. His box-to-box capabilities and defensive instincts make him a valuable addition, particularly in games where physicality and pressing are paramount. 2. Savinho, 25 million, returned from Girona via City Football Group. The Brazilian winger, having impressed at Girona with electric pace and flair, was integrated into the first team as a long-term replacement for Riyad Mahrez. Though still raw, Savinho provides Guardiola with width and unpredictability on the flanks, a quality sometimes missing when the team reverts to inverted fullbacks and narrow midfield shapes. 3. Yan Couto, 20 million, also returned from Girona. Like Savinho, Couto was monitored closely within the CFG ecosystem. A modern right-back with energy, technical ability, and an attacking mindset, he is seen as a rotational option for Kyle Walker. While not quite at the elite level yet, the Brazilian's inclusion offers Guardiola tactical depth on the right side of defense. 4. Daniel Munoz, 28 million from Crystal Palace. The Colombian right-back joined to reinforce a position that, despite Walker's consistency, needed cover and succession planning. Munoz's versatility and work ethic give Guardiola the kind of flexibility he often craves in tight fixture runs. What City gained? There's no doubt that Manchester City's transfer strategy was purposeful. They strengthened in areas that needed depth, particularly in midfield and the right side of defense. With players like Fofana adding fresh legs and players like Munoz and Couto adding positional competition, Guardiola seems to have ensured that complacency won't seep into his squad. Moreover, integrating young talents from the CFG network also highlights the club's long-term planning, ensuring that the next generation of City stars are groomed with Guardiola's tactical ideals in mind. The glaring hole. The left-back problem persists. Despite these strategic reinforcements, Manchester City's most obvious weakness remains left-back, a position that has been a puzzle since the departure of Alexander Kolarov and the injury-prone days of Benjamin Mendy. João Cancelo was once touted as the long-term solution, with his ambipedal ability allowing him to cut inside or overlap. However, his fallout with Guardiola led to loans to Bayern Munich and Barcelona, with no permanent return in sight. Since then, the left-back role has become a revolving door of makeshift solutions. Nathan Ake. A natural center-back, Ake has done an admirable job as a left-back in certain tactical systems. His defensive solidity and ability to tuck into a back three make him useful, but he's not a traditional fullback and lacks the attacking threat or crossing precision of a natural in the role. Joško Gvardiol. Signed for a massive fee in 2023, Gvardiol was another center-back converted into a left-back in Guardiola's inverted system. While technically sound, his attacking output has been limited. He's most effective when stepping into midfield during build-up play, but offers little width when City need to stretch defenses. Sergio Gomez, the only natural left-back in the squad. However, he has barely featured, even in cup competitions, with reports suggesting the coaching staff lack faith in his defensive abilities. The Spaniard could still leave on loan or permanently. This patchwork approach has worked thanks to Guardiola's genius and the squad's overall quality. But the absence of a specialist left-back is increasingly visible in high-stakes games. Teams have started to exploit City's lack of width and natural balance on the left, especially when inverted roles fail to break compact defensive structures. Why it matters more. This season, Manchester City are not just competing for domestic honors. The expectations are higher than ever. Another Premier League title, a deep Champions League run, domestic cups, and now the FIFA Club World Cup. Guardiola's squad will be stretched across multiple competitions, with international duties looming for many players. In this context, every detail matters, especially positional depth and natural fits. A left-back who can overlap, cross, defend against pacey wingers, and offer tactical balance is essential. While Guardiola's inverted fullback system, using midfielders like John Stones or Rico Lewis to drift inside, has been praised for its innovation, it's also fragile without the right personnel. In games where control is lost, or when chasing a goal late, not having a true wide outlet on the left limits City's options. Possible market solutions still available. With the transfer window still open, City may yet move to address the left-back issue. Here are a few players who've been loosely linked or speculated to fit Guardiola's system. Alphonso Davies, Bayern Munich, a dream target, but Bayern are unlikely to sell unless Davies pushes for a move. His explosive pace, dribbling, and high work rate make him ideal for Guardiola. Theo Hernandez, AC Milan, another elite option, but with a high price tag. Hernandez is aggressive going forward and physically dominant. Valentin Barco, Brighton, a young Argentine fullback with potential, though he remains untested at the elite level. A future investment rather than a solution for now. Ferland Mendy, Real Madrid. Less flashy than others, but tactically disciplined and comfortable in possession. Could be a short-term solution. City may also consider waiting until January if the current options hold up, especially if Gvardiol improves offensively or if Ake continues his steady performances. However, that would be a gamble. Guardiola's tactical mastery can only do so much. Pep Guardiola has shown time and again that he can adapt and win with unconventional lineups. He has used center backs as fullbacks, midfielders as defenders, and even played without a striker before Erling Haaland's arrival. But as the margins in elite football get finer, not addressing obvious positional gaps can prove costly. City's strength lies in their tactical intelligence, squad cohesion, and technical brilliance. But their vulnerability at left-back is now well documented. In matches where Guardiola needs width and speed on the left flank, especially against teams who press high or defend in narrow blocks, City's attack can look blunt. Conclusion: incomplete perfection. Manchester City's summer transfer window has been strong. Intelligent signings, young talent, and structural depth. Spending $111 million without indulging in flashy, Galactico-style purchases shows a level of discipline and planning that most clubs envy. However, their refusal, or perhaps failure, to address the left-back issue continues to stand out. In a team where perfection is expected and often achieved, even a small flaw becomes magnified. Guardiola may yet work magic with what he has, but unless a natural left-back is acquired, the risk of that gap being exploited on the biggest stages remains very real. In short, the champions look sharper than ever. But one weak link could still be the key difference between another historic treble and a campaign of what-ifs.